Coming in black and white color scheme, curved tempered glass, support for loads of radiators, including a push-pull at the top with some minor limitations, but we'll get to that part later on. We're having here the Antec C5 Curve Addressable RGB. And you know what's cool about this case? Because the case comes with 4 pre-installed fans, and that's like regular stuff when you take into consideration other cases that come with pre-installed fans. But I'll give you one thing. The fans are pre-installed at the bottom, so you have 3 reversed blade fans here at the bottom, and you have one 120 here at the back. Why is it cool to have them here on the bottom and not on the side? Because you don't have to flip the case to install them, because they are installed from the bottom part. So that's a plus right from the box, and I do have to mention that. Now what I did here, we have 10 fans. We have 3 reversed at the bottom, stock. We have 3 reversed on the side. These are P12R, which I installed additionally. We have 1 here at the rear, which is stock. And we have 3 on the Antec Vortex Slam 360 addressable RGB. Now altogether, this is quite nice because you have loads of fan capacity, but we also have quite interesting cooling capacity as well. Now, the one thing that separates the C5 from the C5 Curve is the curved tempered glass. And not only that side, but the left side as well is also curved, so it looks quite nice. And the edges on the front tempered glass that end with this front plastic part are also a bit curved, so in terms of curvature on the front flat side. Shame it's not from one piece, because then it would look brilliant. I do have to admit, I'm really digging those type of cases that have one piece tempered glass. Just looks much cleaner. But regardless of that, it still looks clean. So let's jump into the specifications so I don't, just talk nonsense for hours not giving you any viable information. It's a dual chamber case, which means that at the back you place your power supply, and the cable management space is up to 95 millimeters, which is insane. Now you can store here at the back power supply, drives, and on the front, as you can see and everything that you can notice, cooling for CPU and for the GPU. It supports back connect motherboards, which ranges from Asus, MSI, and even colorful, and more, of course, when they check out the compatibility and stuff like that. Now for the dust filters, we have one magnetic dust filter here at the top. We have a magnetic dust filter here at the bottom. On the back side, we don't have a dust filter, but what you have here is perforated steel mesh, which has both sides, for the side fans and for the power supply. Then we go with pre-installed. They are P12 as well as the ones that I installed. So the rear one is P12, the bottom ones are P12R. And the most interesting thing about this case is that you have a hub that supports up to 8 PWM fans and 8 addressable RGB fans. That is insane, because you can literally connect all the fans and be done with it. Basically, the pump and the fans on the radiator need to be connected to the motherboard, because they have a specific pin, pump for pump, and the CPU fan 1 for the radiator fans. Now, for the support of the radiators, 360 at the top, 280 at the side, and 360 at the bottom. For the side clearance of the 280 radiator, you can go up to 75 millimeters of space until it reaches the GPU. And for the push-pull combination, what I mentioned at the top, you can go with that, but the clearance for the rams is maximum 35 millimeters. So what you have to do is go for low profile rams. Now, when we're talking about the fans in general, we have up to maximum 10 120 millimeter fans, as you can see in the front of you. But what you can do is on top 2 140 or 3 120, on the side 2 140 or 3 120, on the bottom 3 120, and rear 1 120. I/O panels, it's quite rich. I do have to admit, you have a power button, you have LED control button, which can also be switched to reset button if you have everything connected to your motherboard, so you're good to go. Then you have 2 USB 3.0, HD audio and microphone separated. Then we have USB Type-C 3.2 Generation 2. For storage, we have quite loads of space. Now, at the back, as you can see, we have a caddy, which has 4 screws. It can support up to 2 2.5-inch SSDs and 1 3.5-inch hard drive, while on front, if you remove the front fan, you can place 1 2.5-inch SSD or 1 3.5-inch hard drive. CPU cooler height is maximum 160, which is strange because it is a bit wider case, but then again, they sacrifice that because it's intended more for AIO cooling, liquid cooling. to give it for the power supply, so I think that's quite understandable. It supports ATX, micro ATX, and ITX motherboards. GPU maximum length is 410, power supply maximum length, including cables, is 240, and you have loads of space for cable management. This is quite nice, I do have to say. We have 7 expansion slots, and what's there left to say? I mean, basically, we covered literally everything. The idea while building this PC is quite easy, and there's nothing to add. You have loads of extrusions, you have 3 Velcro ties to zip tie or just use Velcro ties to tie up the cables and make it look nice, which is great. The cable management at the controller is a bit sketchy, I would say, but you can fiddle around a bit with those cables, just like I did, and just stuck them on that extrusion part, use a zip tie and tie them up. That's it, you're good to go. Now for the benchmarks. When we go with AIDA 64 Extreme Edition, we have AMD Ryzen 9 7900 X3D paired up with RTX 4080 Gaming X Slim. CPU went up to 89 degrees, clock speed is 4850, and GPU went up to 70 degrees. Now in Cinebench R23, we have average out of 10 runs, 84.8 degrees, clock speed is 4953, and Cinebench score is 26,481. Cinebench R24, we have 80 degrees, 5050 megahertz clock speed, and 1507 is the score for Cinebench R24. Now, comparing this with AX67 addressable RGB, AX67 actually had a bit better thermals, but the C5 Curve had better scores in Cinebench, so that is quite okay. I mean, a couple of degrees up and down, but you still get better results, which is still good. Honestly, this C5 Curve looks much more appealing than the AX67 in general, but what I can say is that I'm really digging the curved glass. As I said, and I'll state it once again, it's a shame that the curved glass isn't in one piece, but maybe the manufacturing process and all that other stuff is most likely a problem, or just a bit more difficulty in designing that. And one thing that I do have to say, the bottom fans, even though they are pre-installed, and that's a plus, that's also a minus, because it's a bit harder to access the ports for the motherboard at the bottom. So for instance, they don't have connected jacks for the front panel header. So power on, reset, power LED, and hard drive LED. So you really have to be quite precise and careful to actually do it properly. And of course, all the PWMs and USB 2.0, if you need to access those, that's a bit difficult to access. If you're having issues with that, you'll have to remove the fans just to get the proper connectivity. Well, basically not the connectivity, because that will stick, but just to give that proper clearance for connecting the headers to the motherboard. And that's basically it. I'm digging the design, loving this Antec top part right here. The tempered glass is quite clean, and digging the whole visual aspect of it. So Antec C5 Curve addressable RGB is a really nice case, specifically when we take the fish tank into consideration and the price tag and having a full ATX power supply, because this is a bit smaller case. But then again, you have loads of space for storage if you desire to go with that. And yeah, I think that's quite all right. So guys, Antec C5 Curve addressable RGB, link is in the description if you want to check it out, including the Antec Vortex Slum 360 addressable RGB, and of course their power supply, Antec HCG 1000 Platinum. Altogether, quite nice build, quite nice case. And of course, if you haven't subscribed still and you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, click the notification bell, and I'll see you shortly in a new one. Thanks for sticking by. Bye bye.